Hi, fourth grade. Oh, there goes Prince. Hi, fourth grade book club. Oh, Prince, come here. Do you want to say hi? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the next 4 chapters, which then will catch us up so that we are all together at how we played Truth or Dare, which is where group 1 was, and group 1 was the furthest along. So we're going to read how February made us money too, how Shemana made a discovery, how we texted, and how we went to Shemana Chin's house. And then I'll stop with this recording. All right. So here we go. How February made us money too. By the end of February, we'd made $36. Mrs. Watanabe had been late to every single rehearsal, every single one. It got so that she would actually come to rehearsal with crisp dollar bills already in her hands to give us. She would literally show up, begin talking, hand us the money without even acknowledging it, and start the dance class. It was almost like it was the price of admission, what she paid to get us through the door. So funny. Then at one point, halfway through the month, she herself suggested upping the amount of the penalty she would give us for being late from $1 to $5. This, she assured us, would definitely keep her from being late in the future. But of course, that didn't work either. And now, instead of coming to rehearsal prepared with crisp $1 bills in her hand, she would come in with crisp $5 bills, which she simply dropped on top of our backpacks by the door without saying a word. The price of admission. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. God bless America. Even Shemana said that now. All right, here's the next chapter. How Shemana made a discovery. And what I want you guys to imagine when I read this is from a New York Times newspaper article from the year 1978. And what it is, Shemana found this old article that is about a dance that Mrs. Watanabe, Eshavara was her maiden name, had choreographed in the late 70s. And the name of her dance is called or was called Ascension. And so this is the newspaper review of Mrs. Watanabe's dance from 1978. And the title is Ascension Transcends by Melissa Kratz, New York Times Musitech, February 1978. Ascension, in its world premiere at the Nelly Regina Theater, is a stunning debut by choreographer Petra Eshavari, recent graduate of Juilliard and winner of the Princess Grace Award. A mesmerizing reinterpretation of the dance fads of the 60s as seen through the Kodachromic lens of the author's childhood in New York City's barrio. This piece is a riveting and joyful homage to the scratchy, catchy, and soon-to-be-lost tracks of the decade, chock full of breathtaking leaps and innovative steps that belie Ms. Eshavari's own training in the classical style. The work takes one particular dance, the Shingaling, and creates a visual narrative through which the rest of the work weaves. The reason I chose the Shingaling as the centerpiece of this dance, explains Eshavari, is because it's the only one of the dance fads of the time that actually evolved over the years to reflect the musical styles and genres of the musicians and dancers interpreting it. There are so many types of Shingaling: Latin, soul, rhythm and blues, funk, psychedelic, and rock and roll. It's the one dance that intersects every genre, the common thread. Growing up in the 60s, music was everything to me and my friends. I didn't have money for dance lessons. American Bandstand was my dance teacher. Those dance fads of the era were my training. Eshavari didn't begin formal dance training until the age of 12, but once she did, there was no looking back. Once I got into performing arts and then Juilliard, recalls Eshavari, I knew I could do it. I could defy the odds. None of my neighborhood friends did. The hood is a tough place to leave. When asked why she chose the Shingaling as the main theme of her dance, Eshavari grows wistful, or like thoughtful. A couple of years ago, about a month before graduating from Juilliard, I attended the funeral of a childhood friend, one of those girls who used to come to my house for bandstand. I hadn't seen her for years, but I'd heard she was in a bad way, had gotten in with the wrong crowd. Anyway, her mother saw me at the funeral and said her daughter had made a gift for me, a graduation present. I couldn't imagine what it was. Eshavari holds up a cassette tape. This girl had made me a tape of every Shingaling song from our childhood, every single one. Chinatown by Giusti Barreto, Shingaling Shingaling by Keiko and his orchestra, Sugar, Let's Shingaling by Shirley Ellis, I've Got Just the Thing by Lou Courtney, Shingaling Time Baby by the Liberty Bells, El Shingaling by the Latines, Shingaling by Arthur Conley, Shingaling by Audrey Winters, Nobody But Me by the Human Beings. An incredible song list. I don't even know how she recorded some of them, but when I heard these songs, I knew I was going to create a dance woven around them. The three dancers in the piece, all recent graduates of Juilliard themselves, bring a distinctive vocabulary to the montage, drawing viewers into an experience that is at once life-affirming and joyful without any bubblegum sentimentality. This lack of artifice owes as much to the rousing arrangement of songs, which blend seamlessly together, as it does to Eshavari's poignant narrative, modern dance at its best. So Mrs. Eshavari is recreating this dance that she did many years ago that Charlotte, Shemana, and Summer are performing for the gala for Beecher Prep. All right. So next chapter is How We Texted. So I'll just do two more. How we texted and then how we went to Shemana Chin's house, and then we'll stop there. How we texted. So this is Thursday night. Shemana Chin, did you guys see the article I emailed you? Charlotte Cody, OMG, is that really Mrs. Watanabe? Shemana Chin, crazy, right? Charlotte Cody, are you sure? Who is Petra Eshavari? Shemana Chin, it's her maiden name. That's her, trust me. I was Googling Gordie Johnson tonight and got bored and started Googling Petra Watanabe. Summer Dawson, I just read the article. Unbelievable. That's the dance we're doing. Ascension. Shemana Chin. I know. Amazing. Charlotte Cody. She looks so young and pretty in that photo. Summer Dawson. Aw, that's so sweet, Shemana. Shemana Chin. What? Summer Dawson, that you were Googling Gordie Johnson. Shemana Chin. Yeah, well, now I'm curious too. I want to know what happened to him. Charlotte Cody, I shouldn't say this, but my mom thinks that maybe he's ... Summer Dawson, oh no, my mom thinks so too. Shemana Chin, sorry guys, I sort of think maybe I agree. Charlotte Cody, rest in peace, Gordie Johnson. Summer Dawson, no. Charlotte Cody, I don't believe it. Summer Dawson, me neither. Shemana Chin, okay, forget I said anything. Summer Dawson, said what? Charlotte Cody, lots of smileys. Shemana Chin, on completely unrelated note, do you guys want to sleep over at my house tomorrow night? Charlotte Cody, yeah, let me ask my mom. Be right back. Summer Dawson, sounds fun. Just us? Shemana Chin, yeah, come at 6? Summer Dawson, okay. Charlotte Cody, my mom says it's fine as long as your parents are home. Shemana Chin, Natch, which we realized means naturally. Naturally, my parents will be home. Charlotte Cody, my parental unit, who is at this moment violating my personal space and reading my text over my shoulder, wants me to finish homework, so I've got to go. See you tomorrow. Good night. Summer Dawson, nighty night. Shemana Chin, till tomorrow. Can't wait. XO. All right. So here's the last chapter we're going to read. How we went to Shemana Chin's house. It was the first time we went to Shemana's house. Up until then, we'd always hung out at my house or Summer's apartment. Shemana lived in one of those luxury high-rises on the other side of the park. It was a doorman building, very different from the apartments I was used to in North River Heights. Most of those are brownstones or small apartment buildings that are over 100 years old. Shemena's apartment was ultra-modern. The elevator opened directly into the apartment. "Hey," said Shemena, waiting for us in the foyer. "Hey," we said. "Wow, this is beautiful," said Summer, looking around as she dropped her sleeping bag in the hallway. "Should we take our shoes off?" "Sure, thanks," said Shemena, taking our coats. "I can't believe it's snowing again." I dropped my sleeping bag next to Summer's and pulled off my Uggs. A woman I'd never seen before came in from the living room. "This is Louisa," said Shemena. "This is Summer, and that's Charlotte. Louisa's my babysitter." "Hi," we both said. Louisa smiled at us. "So nice to meet you," she said in halting English, and then said something in rapid-fire Spanish to Shemena, who answered by nodding and saying, "Gracias." "You speak Spanish?" I said, astonished. We were following Shemena over to the kitchen counter. Shemena laughed. "You didn't know? Shemena is such a Spanish name. You want something to drink?" "I thought it was Chinese," I answered truthfully. "Water's great." "Me too," said Summer. "My dad's Chinese," she explained, filling 2 glasses full of water from the refrigerator door. "My mom's Spanish, from Madrid. That's where I was born." "Really?" I said. "That's cool." All right. So I just want to let you guys know that one of the things we talked about is that maybe Shemena's name is pronounced Jimena since it's a Spanish name and maybe not a Chinese name, but I can't seem to not call her Shemena anymore. So if you want to call her Mena, call her Jimena. All right. Or Shemena. All right. Cool. Here we go. All right. So Shemena gave them water. All right. And so here we go. All right. "So, did you grow up in Madrid?" I asked her. "Besides dancing and horses and Les Mis, the thing I love most in the world is traveling. Not that I had ever done any traveling yet. So far, we'd only gone to the Bahamas once, Florida and Montreal, but my parents are always talking about taking us to Europe someday, and I plan on becoming a professional traveler after I'm done being a Broadway star." Oh, I love Charlotte. "No, I didn't grow up there," answered Shemena. "I mean, I spend summers there, except for last summer when I did the ballet intensive here in the city, but I didn't grow up there. My parents both work for the United Nations, so I kind of grew up all over the place." She took a bite of the carrot stick. Crunch. "Rome for 2 years. Then before that, we lived in Brussels. We lived in Dubai for a year when I was about 4, but I don't remember that at all." "Wow," said Summer. "That's so cool," I said. Shemena tapped on the glass she was drinking from with her carrot stick. "It's okay," she said, "but it can be kind of hard too, moving around. I'm always the new kid in school." "Oh, yeah," Summer said sympathetically. "I survived," Shemena answered sarcastically. "I'm not about to complain." She took another bite of her carrot stick. "So, do you know other languages?" I asked. She held up 3.5 fingers as an answer, since her mouth was full. And then after she swallowed, she elaborated. "English, because I always went to American schools, Spanish, Italian, and a little bit of Mandarin from my grandmother." "That's so cool," I answered. "You keep saying that's so cool," Shemena pointed out. "That's so uncool," I answered, which made her laugh. Louisa came to Shemena and asked her something. "Louisa wants to know what you guys would like for dinner," Shemena translated. Summer and I looked at each other. "Oh, anything is fine," Summer said very politely to Louisa. "Please don't go to any trouble." Louisa raised her eyebrows and smiled as Shemena translated. Then she reached over and pinched Summer's cheek affectionately. "Que muchachita hermosa," she said, and then she looked at me. "Y este se parece a una muñequita." I think that might mean that she's a little doll. Shemena laughed. "She says you're very pretty, Summer, and Charlotte, you look like a little doll." I looked at Louisa, who was smiling and nodding. "Aw," I said, "that's so nice." Then she walked away to start dinner for us. "My parents will be home about 8 p.m., Shemena said, waving for us to follow her. She showed us the rest of the apartment, which looked like something out of a magazine. Everything was white. The sofa, the rug, there was even a white ping pong table in the living room. It made me a little nervous about being klutzy, which I have been known to be, and accidentally spilling something. We made our way down the hall to Shemena's room, which was probably the biggest bedroom I've ever seen. That wasn't a master bedroom. My bedroom, which I've shared with Beatrix, was probably 1/4 the size of Shemena's bedroom. Summer walked into the middle of the room and made a slow spin as she took it all in. Okay, this room is actually as big as my entire living room and kitchen combined, she said. Oh, wow, I said, walking over to the floor-to-ceiling windows. You can see the Empire State Building from here. This is like the most beautiful apartment I've ever seen, said Summer, sitting down in Shemena's desk chair. Thanks, Shemena said, nodding and looking around. She seemed a little embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, we've only been here since this summer, so it doesn't quite feel like home to me yet, but she plopped down on the bed. Summer pulled the rolling chair up to the giant bulletin board in back of Shemena's desk, which was completely covered with tiny photos and pictures and quotes and sayings. Oh, look, a Mr. Brown precept, she said, pointing to a cutout of Mr. Brown's September precept. He's like my favorite teacher ever, answered Shemena. Mine too, I said. What a cute picture of you and Savannah, Summer said. I went over to see what she was pointing at. In between the dozens of little pictures of people from Shemena's life, most of whom we didn't recognize, were camera booth type photos of Shemena and Savannah, plus Shemena and Miles, Savannah and Henry, and Ellie and Amos. When I saw Ellie's picture up there, I have to admit, it was kind of strange for me, like I saw her in a different light. She really did have this whole new life. I have to get a picture of you two for my wall, Shemena said. Oh, come on, said Summer in her cute, disapproving fairy way as she pointed to a picture on the board. Shemena. It took me a second to realize she hadn't said, oh, come on, in a response to what Shemena had just said. Oh, sorry, said Shemena, making a guilty face. At first, I didn't know what the problem was, since it was just our homeroom class picture. Then I realized that over Augie's face was a tiny yellow post-it with a drawing of a sad face. Shemena pulled the post-it off the picture. It was just Savannah and those guys fooling around, she said apologetically. That's almost as bad as Julian's mom photoshopping the picture, Summer said. It was from a long time ago. I forgot it was even there, said Shemena. I was so used to the dimple in her left cheek by now that I never confused when she was serious with when she was joking anymore. I would say her expression right now was definitely remorseful. Look, the truth is, I think Augie's amazing. But you never talk to him, said Summer. Just because I'm not comfortable around him doesn't mean I'm not amazed by him, explained Shemena. At that moment, we heard a knock on the open door. Louisa was holding a little boy in her arms who had obviously just woken up from a nap. He was probably about 3 or 4 years old and looked exactly like Shemena, except for the fact that it was very obvious he had Down syndrome. Hola, Eduardito, said Shemena, beaming. She held her arms out to her little brother, who Luisa deposited into her arms. These are my friends, mis amigas. This is Charlotte, and that's Summer. Say hi. Di hola. She took Eduardito's hand and waved it at us, and we waved back. Eduardito, who still had not completely woken up, looked at us sleepily, while Shemena planted kisses all over his face. And so, if you guys don't know, Down syndrome is it's a chromosomal abnormality that happens, before birth, and it may have some associations of some, like learning delays, and that kind of thing. So anyway, so that's kind of an interesting twist to Shemena saying that she feels uncomfortable around Augie, right? Um, because just as he had a genetic thing that affected the way that he looked, but not his mind, her little brother also has something with his genes that affects the way he looks and also affects his mind. All right. So I'm going to stop there, you guys, and we'll do more recordings and I'll be in touch because I think we just better finish our book club. All right. Okay. All right, you guys, have a great day. Bye bye.